I've told myself this story 100 times, trying to find the missing piece. There's a 6-hour gap in my life that I will never get back. No head injury, no drugs, no history of blackouts, just silence. The search team said I was gone for 6 hours. The dogs followed my scent down the trail, and then it just stopped, like I stepped off the earth. They found me 12 miles north of where I disappeared. Barefoot, no pack, no memory. And the worst part, I wasn't alone when they found me. Let's step into the abyss. This happened in late September. Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I'd taken a week off work. No phone calls, no emails, just trees and quiet. I've been hiking for 15 years. Backcountry, solo. Off trail when I need to be. I know the rules. File a route plan. Check in with the ranger station. Carry enough water. Never push daylight. That morning felt normal. Cold air drifting between the trees. The faint metallic smell of wet leaves and stone. A low mist hugging the forest floor. I remember adjusting my pack straps in the parking lot. There was a family unloading their SUV nearby. 2 kids arguing about who forgot the marshmallows. Ordinary, that's important. It started about 3 miles in. The trail was narrow, roots twisting through the dirt like veins. The forest dense enough to swallow sound. No birds. I didn't notice at first. You don't expect silence to be loud, but it was. My boots kept grinding against gravel. That was the only thing I could hear. Even the wind felt muted. I checked my watch. 10:17 a.m. Still plenty of daylight. About 10 minutes later, I heard something behind me. Footsteps, slow, measured, matching my pace. I stopped walking. The sound stopped. I told myself it was an echo. Dry leaves shifting after I stepped on them. I started again. 3 steps, and there it was again. Step, step, step. Directly behind me, I turned around. Nothing, just the trail bending slightly left. Tall trees, heavy shadows. I stood there longer than I'd like to admit, waiting. The air felt colder against the back of my neck. That's when I noticed the smell. It wasn't earth anymore. It was metallic, like old copper, like blood on a coin. I checked my nose for a bleed. Nothing. I called out, "Hello?" My voice sounded wrong. Not echoed, not absorbed, just small, like the forest didn't recognize it. I told myself to keep moving. Panic wastes energy. At 10:32 a.m., I stepped off the marked trail. I don't know why that's the first decision I can't explain. There was no landmark, no sound drawing me in, just a feeling that something was slightly to the right. I remember thinking I'd only walk 30 feet in just to check. The trees got thicker immediately, branches clawing at my jacket, the ground softer, damp, and that silence. Total. Oppressive. I looked back toward where the trail should have been. I couldn't see it. That shouldn't have happened. 30 feet isn't enough to lose visibility. I walked forward another few steps. Then I saw it. Footprints. barefoot, pressed into the mud, fresh, facing me, not going away, not crossing sideways. They started about 10 feet ahead of me, and they ended right in front of my boots, like someone had walked toward me and then vanished. I stared at them for a long time. The size looked adult, too large to be a child. The toes were clearly defined, deep impressions. Whoever made them wasn't light. I checked the ground behind me, no matching prints, just mine. I felt the temperature drop again, cold air brushing the back of my neck, that same metallic smell getting stronger. And then I heard my name. Not shouted, not whispered, just spoken. Calm. Right behind me. I turned so fast I nearly slipped. No one. Nothing. Just trees. Heavy shadows stretching between trunks. I told myself it was auditory hallucination, stress, low blood sugar. But here's the part that still wakes me up at night. It wasn't my name. Not the one people use. It was the name my mother used when I was a child. A nickname. One no one on that trail could have known. I backed away from the footprints. Slow. Careful. My heel caught on something. I stumbled. Fell hard onto my back. The wind knocked out of me. For a second, I just stared up at the canopy. Branches swaying slightly. No sound. And then I heard floorboards creak. Clear as day. Wood. Old wood shifting under weight. But I was in the forest. There are no floorboards in the Smokies. I rolled onto my side and pushed myself up. My hands were shaking now. I didn't look at the footprints again. I just started walking. Fast. Not running. Running wastes oxygen. But fast enough that my pack bounced against my spine. The silence followed me. The smell followed me. And those footsteps, they started again. Behind me. Matching pace. Step, step, step. I checked my watch again. 10:41 a.m. That's the last time I remember seeing it, because the next memory I have is opening my eyes to flashing red and blue lights. And a park ranger saying, "Sir, can you hear me?" When I came to, I was on my side. Cold gravel pressed into my cheek. There was a bright white light in my eyes. I remember blinking slowly, like I'd just woken from a deep sleep. Someone was saying my name. Not the nickname. My real name. "Sir, can you hear me?" I rolled onto my back. Above me, not trees, sky, open sky, late afternoon light, orange. That's the first thing that didn't make sense. It was morning when I stepped off the trail. 10:41 a.m. But the sky above me was nearing sunset. A park ranger was kneeling beside me. Older guy, gray beard, calm voice. Behind him I saw 2 patrol vehicles, red and blue lights flashing. I tried to sit up. My muscles felt weak. Not injured, just drained, like I'd run for miles. "Easy," he said. "You've been missing for 6 hours." 6 hours? The words didn't connect. "That's not possible," I told him. My throat felt dry, metallic, like I'd been sucking on a coin. He helped me sit upright. That's when I noticed I wasn't on the trail. I wasn't even close. We were in a clearing, a maintenance access road. Gravel and tire tracks. I looked down at my feet. Bare. Completely bare. My boots were gone. My socks too. My jeans were damp up to the knees. Mud dried along my calves. My pack was missing. Water. Food. Map. Everything. Just gone. They wrapped a thermal blanket around my shoulders. Even then, I couldn't get warm. The cold wasn't outside. It was under my skin. The ranger asked me basic questions. Name, date of birth. Did I know where I was? I answered everything correctly. No confusion, no headache, no sign of concussion. That's what bothered him. I could see it in his eyes. Do you remember leaving the trail? He asked. I hesitated. Yes. Do you remember what happened after that? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. It wasn't that I didn't want to say it. There was just nothing there, like a blank page ripped out of a book. The search team leader walked over. You could tell he'd been in the woods all day. Sweat dried into his collar. Leaves stuck to his boots. He crouched in front of me. We had dogs on your scent, he said. They tracked you about 4 miles in. I nodded slowly. Then your trail stopped. Stopped? Like you stepped onto rock or got picked up. He said it casually, but he was watching my reaction. I felt that metallic smell again, stronger. I glanced down at my hands. There was dried dirt under my fingernails and something else, a thin black residue like soot, but sticky. I rubbed my thumb against it. It smeared. The ranger noticed. What's that from? I shook my head. I don't know. He helped me stand. My legs wobbled. Not injured. Just exhausted. Like every ounce of energy had been siphoned out of me. They walked me toward one of the vehicles. That's when I saw the map on the hood. A large topographic printout. Bright highlighter marking search grids. I leaned closer. That's not right, I said. The ranger looked at me. What isn't? That's not where I was hiking. He pointed to a red X. This is where we found you. I stared at it. 12 miles north. Not along any marked trail. Not even near one. Deep backcountry. Steep terrain. Dense ravines. No direct path from where I disappeared. That's impossible, I whispered. You'd have to cross 2 ridges, the search leader said, and a creek. I looked at my bare feet again. No cuts, no torn skin, no bruising. If I'd walked 12 miles through that terrain barefoot, I wouldn't be standing. I suddenly felt dizzy. The world tilted slightly, and for just a second, I heard it again. Floorboards creaking, slow, measured, directly behind me. I just turned, nothing but trees beyond the clearing. But the air there, it looked thicker, like heat distortion. Only it wasn't warm. It was cold, sharp cold. The ranger touched my shoulder. You all right? I nodded. But I wasn't. Because I realized something else. The clearing where they found me, it didn't exist on the official trail maps. Maintenance roads were restricted, locked gates, no public access, and I didn't have keys. They loaded me into the back seat. Door shut. The sound echoed louder than it should have. As we drove toward the ranger station, I watched the forest slide past the window. Trees. Endless trees. I tried to force myself to remember anything, a sound, a face, a direction. All I could feel was this lingering sensation, like I had been somewhere indoors, enclosed, the air stale, wood around me, that metallic smell saturating everything. I closed my eyes, and just before sleep pulled at me, I heard a voice again, calm, close to my ear. "You left too soon." I opened my eyes immediately. The ranger in the driver's seat hadn't said anything. The radio was silent. But for a split second, the vehicle speakers crackled with static. They kept me at the ranger station for about 2 hours. Standard procedure, they said, hydration, vitals, basic neurological checks. I answered everything perfectly, too perfectly. That's what the medic muttered when he thought I couldn't hear him. Outside the station windows, the sky had gone completely dark. The forest pressed up against the glass. Heavy. Still. The ranger who found me, his name was Collins, sat across from me at a metal desk. Old radio on the corner, crackling softly with intermittent static. He slid a form toward me. "Just write down everything you remember." I stared at the blank paper. The fluorescent lights above us buzzed faintly, and for a moment, they flickered. Just once. In that split second of dimness, I smelled it again. Copper. Thick. Like blood in the air. I swallowed. "I remember stepping off the trail," I said slowly. He nodded. "Why?" "I don't know." That part was true. But something else was forming in the back of my mind. Not a memory. A sensation. Like remembering the feeling of a room without remembering what was inside it. Closed walls, wooden walls, a narrow hallway, floorboards, that creaking sound again. I stopped writing. Collins leaned forward slightly. "You all right?" I hesitated. "Have there ever been structures out there?" He frowned. "What do you mean?" "Cabins, old ranger buildings, anything off map." He shook his head. "Not in that sector, nothing standing." Nothing standing. The way he said it lingered. I looked back down at the page. My handwriting didn't look like mine. It was tighter, more compressed, like I'd been trying to fit too much into too little space. Then I noticed something else. There was dirt on the edge of the desk. Dark, fine, almost like ash. I rubbed my fingers together. Same texture as the residue under my nails. "Was I found near a burn site?" I asked. "No," Collins said immediately. "Why?" I didn't answer. Because at that exact moment, the radio on his desk spiked with loud static. Not gradual, instant. A sharp burst of white noise filled the room. Both of us flinched. Collins reached over and turned the volume knob down. But the static didn't lower. It just continued. Steady. Hissing. Then, beneath it, a voice. Faint, distorted. I couldn't make out the words, but I recognized the tone. Calm, measured, close, too close. Collins smacked the side of the radio. The static cut out abruptly. Silence returned. We both stared at the speaker. "That frequency's dead at night," he muttered. Dead. I felt the cold again. Not the kind you get from weather. The kind that crawls slowly up your spine. "I think I was inside something," I said quietly. Collins didn't respond. He just watched me. "You were found outdoors," he said finally. "On gravel." "I know." But that wasn't what my body remembered. My body remembered walls, enclosure, breathing air that didn't move, and footsteps above me. Not behind, above. Like someone pacing on the floor overhead. Slow, deliberate. I pressed my palms flat against the desk, trying to ground myself, trying to separate imagination from fact. "Your boots," Collins said suddenly. "They weren't anywhere near you." My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" "We expanded the search radius. No gear, no tracks leading in or out of that clearing." "That's not possible." "That's what I said." The fluorescent lights flickered again, longer this time. The room dimmed. For 2 full seconds. In the near dark, I heard it clearly. Floorboards, right above us. Creak. Slow shift of weight. Creak. I looked up instinctively. The ranger station has no second floor, just attic insulation and roofing. Collins didn't react. He didn't hear it, or pretended not to. When the lights returned to full brightness, the metallic smell was stronger than ever. Thick enough to taste, I stood up abruptly. "I need air." Collins hesitated, then nodded. Outside, the night air hit my lungs hard. Cool, moist. The forest loomed beyond the parking lot, black silhouettes against a moonless sky. I stepped away from the building, just a few feet. The gravel crunched under my bare soles. And then I saw it. At the edge of the tree line, between 2 trunks, a shape. Tall. Too tall. Perfectly still. Not reflective. Not illuminated. Just darker than the darkness around it. Watching. I blinked. It was still there. No movement. No sound. No footsteps. Just presence. The cold air brushed the back of my neck again. Slow. Intentional. I didn't call out. I didn't move toward it. Because somewhere deep down, I knew. If I acknowledged it, it would step forward, and I wasn't ready to see its face. Behind me, the station door opened. Light spilled across the gravel. The shape was gone. Just trees again, normal. But as I stepped back inside, the radio crackled once more, and a single sentence slipped through the static. Clear, undistorted. He remembers. I didn't go home the next day. I told them I needed a hotel near the park. That wasn't true. I just couldn't drive yet. My hands still trembled slightly when I held anything for too long. The ranger station arranged a small roadside motel about 15 minutes away. 1 floor. Exterior doors. Ice machine humming at the end of the walkway. Room 12. The kind of place where the carpet smells faintly damp no matter the season. When I stepped inside, the first thing I noticed was the silence. Not peaceful silence, dense silence. The same kind I felt in the forest. I locked the door. Deadbolt. Chain. I checked the bathroom. Shower curtain pulled back. Empty. Closet. Empty. I told myself I was being paranoid. Trauma does that. The doctor at the station had said the memory gap could be stress-induced. The brain protecting itself. But that explanation didn't sit right. Because stress doesn't move a man 12 miles across mountain terrain without leaving tracks. I sat on the edge of the bed. The mattress dipped slightly under my weight, and for a brief second, it dipped again, beside me, like someone had just sat down. I froze. The indentation lingered, then slowly rose back to normal. I stood up immediately, heart steady, not racing, just heavy. The air felt wrong again, metallic, stronger than before. I walked to the small desk by the window. There was a Bible in the drawer, a notepad, and a pen. I opened the notepad. The first page wasn't blank. There was writing on it, indented, as if someone had pressed hard on the page above it. I tilted it toward the lamp. The grooves caught the light. 3 words, "You were gone." I stepped back from the desk, slowly. I hadn't written that. No one had been in the room. I checked the hallway through the peephole. Empty. The ice machine hummed again. Steady. Ordinary. I went back to the notepad. Touched the indentations. The paper was cold. Unnaturally cold, like it had been sitting in a freezer. That's when the TV turned on. By itself. No sound at first. Just static. Black and white snow. I didn't move toward it. I just watched. The static shifted slightly, almost forming shapes. Then, a frame flickered through. So fast I almost missed it. Wooden walls, narrow hallway, dim lighting, like an old cabin interior. Then back to static. I stepped closer. The smell hit me hard. Copper. Overwhelming now. The static grew louder. And beneath it, footsteps. Creaking wood. Slow. Measured. Directly above me, I looked at the ceiling instinctively. Popcorn texture. Water stain in one corner. Nothing else. But the footsteps continued. Pacing. Back and forth. Creak. Pause. Creak. The motel had only 1 floor. No second story. No attic rooms. Just roofing. I grabbed the remote and turned the TV off. The screen went black, but the reflection in it, for just a second, didn't match the room. Behind me, there was a doorway that wasn't there before. Tall, narrow, wooden frame, slightly open, and beyond it, darkness. Not shadow, not absence of light. Something thicker. I spun around. Nothing. Just the bathroom door. Closed. My breathing stayed steady, but my body felt colder. Colder than the air conditioning could account for. I walked to the bathroom, opened the door slowly. Empty. Sink, mirror, towel rack. But when I stepped inside, the floor creaked, loud, wooden, not tile. I looked down. Tile, white, cracked in one corner. I stepped again. Creak, like floorboards under the surface. Something layered beneath this room, something older. I leaned toward the mirror, studied my own reflection. I looked normal, pale, tired, but normal. Then my reflection blinked. Half a second too late, I froze. It corrected itself immediately. Perfect synchronization again. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I nearly jumped. Unknown number. I answered. Didn't speak. Neither did the caller. For a full 5 seconds, nothing. Then I heard breathing, slow, measured, close to the microphone. And behind that, radio static. I hung up immediately. The room felt smaller, walls closer, air heavier. I stepped back into the main room. And that's when I saw it. Mud on the carpet, bare footprints leading from the door to the bed. I stared at them. They weren't there before. They couldn't have been. They were fresh, still damp, facing inward, as if someone had walked in after I locked the door. The temperature dropped again. Cold air brushed the back of my neck. Slow, deliberate. I didn't turn around because I knew the moment I did, I wouldn't be alone anymore. And somewhere deep in my memory, a thought surfaced, clear, terrifying. I wasn't taken somewhere. Something was built around me. Something was built. I stood there for a long time, staring at the footprints, waiting for them to fade. They didn't. The mud was still wet, dark against the cheap motel carpet, each toe clearly defined, adult, heavy. I checked my own feet, clean, dry. These weren't mine. I moved slowly toward the door. Chain still latched, deadbolt still locked. I pressed my hand against the wood. Cold. Colder than the air-conditioned room. I leaned down, placed my ear against it. Silence, then a faint sound from the other side. Not footsteps, not breathing. Wood shifting, like someone adjusting their weight on old floorboards. But this was concrete foundation, single-story structure. No wood porch outside this room. The sound came again. Creak, slow, measured. Directly on the other side of the door. My throat tightened. I stepped back. The lamp beside the bed flickered once, twice, then steadied. The metallic smell thickened, so strong I could almost taste iron on my tongue. I turned toward the footprints again. They had changed. Not position, not shape, direction. They were no longer facing inward. They were facing the door. As if whoever made them was now standing between me and the exit. I hadn't heard them move. I hadn't blinked that long. My chest felt heavier. Not panic. Pressure. Like air compressing around me. The TV clicked on again. Static filled the room, but this time, It wasn't random noise. Shapes formed in the distortion. Vertical lines, dark beams, wooden planks. The same narrow hallway. Closer now, clearer. At the end of the hallway, a door, slightly open. The angle felt wrong, like I was standing inside it, not watching from outside. The camera perspective shifted, slowly, forward, as if walking. The floor creaked with each step. Creak, pause, creak, and I felt it beneath my own feet. The motel carpet softened, gave way just slightly, like something wooden underneath, matching the rhythm. The hallway on the screen stopped at the door, silence. The door creaked open wider. Inside, darkness, but not empty. Something tall stood within it, bent slightly to fit the frame, too tall for the ceiling. It didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink. It simply occupied space, watching. The TV went black. The room went silent, completely silent. No hum of the AC, no ice machine outside, no traffic from the highway. Total absence, the kind of silence that presses against your eardrums. I heard it then, right behind me. Not from the TV, not from outside. Inside the room. Floorboards, creak, directly behind my back. Slow shift of weight, creak. Cold air brushed the back of my neck. Closer than ever before, almost touching. I closed my eyes, just for a second, and memory broke loose, not in images, in sensations. Dark enclosure, wood walls, no windows. The metallic smell overwhelming, my hands pressed against wooden planks, no door handle, no visible exit. And above me, footsteps pacing, slow, patient, waiting. I opened my eyes. The motel room was still there, but it felt thinner, like a layer stretched over something else. The footprints on the carpet were gone. The door, still locked, still chained, but the metal chain was vibrating slightly, as if something on the other side had just let go. My phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. I didn't answer this time. It went to voicemail. A notification popped up immediately. One new message. I pressed play. Static. 5 seconds. Then, my own voice. Calm. Measured. I'm still here. The message ended. I don't remember recording that. I don't remember saying those words, but it was me. Same cadence. Same breath pattern. The cold intensified. My breath fogged in front of me. Inside a heated motel room. And then 3 knocks from inside the bathroom. Not on the door, on the wall. Knock, 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 evenly spaced, deliberate. I stepped toward it, slow, each step heavy. The air felt thick, resistant. I placed my hand on the bathroom knob. Cold metal, freezing. The knocks came again, closer, like from within the walls themselves. Not plumbing, not pipes, wood, hollow wood, creaking around something moving between beams. A realization formed slowly, carefully, terrifyingly clear. when I stepped off the trail at 10:32 a.m. I didn't walk into the forest. I walked into a structure, one that doesn't stay in one place, one that builds itself around you, layer by layer, silence by silence, and it doesn't let you leave. Not really. The 6 hours? I don't think I was missing. I think I was being measured, learned, copied. The bathroom light flickered once, twice, then shut off completely. The motel room lights followed. Darkness swallowed everything, except for a faint rectangular outline behind the bathroom mirror, a door-sized shape, breathing slowly. And from the darkness inside it, a voice, my voice, whispering, "Stay." The mirror didn't shatter. It didn't swing open. It didn't move at all. But I could see it behind the glass. That outline, a door where no door should be. Tall, narrow, breathing in slow pulses. The motel room was almost completely dark now. Only the faint glow from the parking lot light outside filtered through the curtains, enough to see shapes, enough to see that the bathroom wall was no longer flat. It had depth, like the surface of water disturbed by something beneath it. I stepped closer, not because I wanted to, because something in me recognized it, like muscle memory, like returning to a place I'd already been. The metallic smell was suffocating now, copper and something older, like damp wood sealed for decades. I reached toward the mirror. My reflection reached with me, perfectly synchronized. For once, my fingertips touched the glass. It was warm. Warmer than the room. The surface rippled slightly, like thin membrane stretched over an opening. And then the floor creaked behind me. Not once, not twice, but many. Slow pacing, back and forth, back and forth. I didn't turn around. I already knew. If I turned, I would see it fully. And something told me that seeing it clearly meant staying forever. Instead, I pressed harder against the mirror. The glass softened. My fingers sank into it. Cold air rushed from the other side, sharp against my skin, and suddenly, I remembered. Not pieces, not fragments, all of it. 10:32 a.m. I stepped off the trail, but I didn't walk right. I walked forward, and the trees shifted, not physically, spatially, like the forest folded. The silence deepened, the air thickened, and the ground beneath my boots turned hollow. Wood beneath soil, a structure embedded in wilderness, a hallway appearing between trees. I walked into it willingly, because it felt familiar, like déjà vu. The walls formed as I moved, planks knitting together from shadow. The door at the end slightly open. Inside, darkness, and something tall bending to fit within it. It didn't grab me. It didn't chase me. It simply waited. And when I stepped inside, the forest disappeared. 6 hours inside a place that isn't on any map. A room with no windows. floorboards beneath me, footsteps above me, always above, pacing, learning my weight, my breathing, my voice, repeating it softly until it sounded identical. When they found me 12 miles away, that wasn't escape. That was release. A test run, because something came back with me, not inside my body, around it, layered over reality, like a second blueprint, aligning with the first. The motel, the ranger station, even the clearing, they weren't separate events. They were extensions, thin places where its structure overlaps ours. My hand was halfway through the mirror now, cold wind pulling at my arm. I could see inside. The hallway again, closer than ever. The wooden floor worn smooth. At the end, the door fully open. And inside, nothing. Empty. Waiting. Behind me, the pacing stopped. Complete stillness. The kind that comes right before a decision. The air pressed against my back. Cold breath at my neck. Close enough to touch. A voice whispered. Not from the mirror. Not from behind me. From everywhere. You left too soon. My reflection stepped forward. Without me. It moved through the membrane, into the hallway, turned back, and smiled. Not wide, not monstrous, just slightly, like it understood something I didn't. Then it walked down the hall, floorboards creaking with each step. Creak, pause, creak. I was still standing in the motel room, hand halfway through nothing. The mirror solid again, cold, unmoving. The lights flickered back on. The bathroom returned to normal. Tile floor, cheap sink, water stain on the ceiling. No doorway, no ripple, no outline. The metallic smell faded slowly, like smoke clearing after a fire. I pulled my hand back. It looked normal, but lighter somehow, less defined. I stepped into the main room. The muddy footprints were gone. The TV was off. The air conditioner hummed again. Ordinary, everything ordinary. I checked my phone. No voicemail, no missed call, no record of anything. I left the motel before sunrise, drove home, didn't tell anyone what I remembered. The official report says I suffered temporary dissociation, exposure, mild shock, case closed. But here's what they don't know. Since that night, I don't cast a shadow correctly. It's subtle. Half a second delayed, like my reflection was. And sometimes, when I walk across wooden floors, I hear a second set of footsteps above me, matching my pace. Step, pause, step. I haven't gone back to the park. I won't. Because I know now. The forest didn't take me. The structure did. And it doesn't need the woods. It just needs space, silence, and time. Sometimes at night, when the house is completely still, I hear radio static in the distance, soft, almost comforting. And beneath it, my own voice, practicing,